Your job is to continue to become the best at what you do. Learn all that there is to learn. Become an expert in your field. Feel confident in that people are looking for you. Let's talk about business, everyone. If you don't know who I am, my name is Lena and I'm a haircutting specialist. And on this channel, I do tutorials, I do haircuts. Today, I wanted to talk business. If you're a makeup artist or a hairstylist, maybe even a nail technician, I highly recommend you look into going hourly. And I'm gonna tell you my story and how I got to where I am and why I think you should also consider going hourly if you haven't already. So when I started hair, it was only like 4 years ago. I was a makeup artist before that. I have a psych bachelor degree, so I thought I might be going back to school for master's. I ended up going to hair school and becoming a hairstylist because I'm very creative. I love entrepreneurship. I love working with my hands, and I'm very, very good at hair cutting. So that is kind of my calling. I fell into it. Turns out it was a great career and I was able to support myself. So it was a great all around, like, perfect career for me. I rent a chair and I work independently on my own, and I only do haircuts. I do treatments and I do glosses or toners. And I love doing those because the health of my clients' hair is the most important thing. Like, you can do all the haircuts in the world, but if the client's hair is not healthy, the haircut is not going to look as amazing. The way the hair industry works is you basically live on tips. A lot of times we use those tips to buy groceries, to pay for little things that we want for ourselves that we don't have the actual amount of money to pay for because we don't ask for the money that we want. So I think this is really toxic. I think tipping culture in general is really backwards and old school. I come from a culture where tipping is not normal. Like, Middle Eastern culture, European culture is not a tipping culture. You basically ask for what you want and people don't tip. And I think tipping is kind of a little bit passive aggressive. Like, oh, I'm gonna give you all of this great service today, praying that you're gonna tip me. And if the person can't tip for whatever reason, we end up like hating that person. Like, oh, that person didn't tip. Oh, I can't believe she only tipped like $5 on a $200 service. Well, why don't you just ask for what you want? So when I started my business, I started charging based on length. I was doing like $70 to about $100 based on length. So short was 70, collarbone was 75, went 80, 90, and then 100. And then I said, if your hair is really thick and really long and it could take a little bit more time, I would tack on extra for that. The way we were taught is always to do add-ons. So it's kind of like, you know, supersize me. So if you go in and buy a burger, they'll try to upsell you on like fries or like another cookie. It's kind of the same thing with hair. Like, this is the business model, and I think it's a terrible business model. So you try to upsell as much as you can. Now, I always upsold treatments because I believe in them. Like, I wasn't doing them for the money. I'm like, I'm genuinely, like, your hair genuinely needs a treatment or a gloss, and I've seen like phenomenal results. So business wise, it is a great way to make money. But at the end of the day, why don't I just build that into the price? If my average ticket for every client was $120, which was what it was, then why don't I just make my hour $120? I ended up like really crafting my style, and I learned that I really have a passion for sculpting hair using razors. I got into doing shags, so I wasn't just doing like bobs and pixies. And so these are like specialties, and clients were coming out all the way from all over Ontario to come get their haircut with me. So I was like, okay, now this is becoming like a specialty thing. I can't just start charging people based on length. Clients, even if they had like short hair and I was only charging $75, sometimes that hair would take me an hour and a half. At that point, you're just like losing money at that point, because after I take in living expenses, your rent expenses, and your overhead based on your tools and stuff, even though my tools were paid for, I constantly did have to buy new things because I was doing glosses and toners and treatments, and I had to buy new scissors. I had to invest in a new camera. This is supposed to fund my life. This is not a hobby. So when I would do a $75 haircut, I would just pray that the client would tip me enough to be able to make that hour and a half worth it for me. I realized that even the $100 haircuts were not like paying me enough, because a $100 haircut, which seemed like a lot of money, it's actually not at all, was actually taking me like anywhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours. So I was like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do anyone with a pixie, it's more expensive because it's more work. So I had like a la carte pricing. So pixie cuts were like $90, $95. I upped it to $95. And then anybody who wants a shag is like $120 because that's a very specialized haircut and it's a lot of work. What ended up happening is some clients were wrongly booking shags. So they were paying $120 for something that technically on my menu was only $100. I had clients who would come in and book in for like a long haircut. So long would be like about here, but they actually had very, very, very long hair and very thick, dense hair. And that's when I was like, girl, you know you have a lot of hair, right? Like this is a very long haircut. This isn't just long, it's gonna take me longer and it's gonna be a little bit more expensive. I realized like clients don't even know what kind of hair they have. So a lot of my clients thought they didn't have a lot of hair when they actually did have a lot of hair, because my cousin has more hair than me, or my sister has more hair than me. Maybe in your family you don't have a lot of hair, but trust me, this is gonna be a lot of work. So I just felt like I was selling myself short. At some point when I realized that people were genuinely seeking me to do their hair with me, that's when I was like, okay, this haircut is worth $120. Like I can't charge any less than this. It's always very stressful because you always feel like you're just not getting paid enough. It's not a good position to be in when you have to upsell your client or you have to rely on tips to make the wage that you want. And tipping like just messes up with our bottom line. It really makes it seem like we're service providers when we're really artists, especially once you hone your craft and you become very good at something. You should be paid hourly for that. Accountants get paid hourly, lawyers get paid hourly. All of the respectable professions get paid hourly. There's no reason why we don't. And if you want to make more money, you just raise your hourly rate and you become better at what you do. Have a great product, have a great service, have a great salon, be confident in who you are, upgrade your education, and charge accordingly. Like there's no reason why you can't charge $200 an hour. I'm sure Jen Atkin charges like $600 an hour. She earned it. Make that your goal. Make it so that you are so good that clients want to book with you. So that's my advice if you want to create like abundance for yourself. You're already getting paid hourly. This is another thing. It's like you're already getting paid hourly. How do you find out your hourly rate? Is by finding out like what you made per month. You look at how many days you worked, you look at how many hours you worked, and then you divide that number by the number of hours that you worked, and then that's the hourly rate. You're already getting paid hourly. It's just you're not charging your client hourly. So I was charging $120 a haircut, but some haircuts were taking longer than other haircuts. Some haircuts were an hour and 15, some were an hour and 30, and some haircuts were an hour 45, but a haircut takes me 2 hours and it's $120, and the short haircut takes me an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm making $60 an hour on the longer haircut, which is more labor, and I'm making $120 on the short haircut per hour. What? That makes no sense. So I've actually gotten faster. I realized, well, if I'm getting faster, people are paying for efficiency and time. Time is money. Make sure you look at your hourly rate, look at how much you're making per hour right now, and look at how much you would like to make in the future. I think we all deserve a beautiful life. Remember that even your most loyal clients are going to leave you because people move, people change jobs, they're doing their hair at home, or they're not coloring their hair like before, or they're not coming in as often. One of two things are gonna happen, or one of three things are gonna happen. They leave you and never come back. They leave you and they go to someone else, and that someone else doesn't give them the touch that you have, and they'll come back to you. Or they stay with you. They stay with you and they don't bat an eyelash because they're like, the act of trying to find a new stylist who understands them, who's been with them, who's been through everything with them, who understands their whole hair journey could be difficult. But another thing could happen is that they could come in less frequently. So they'll save up to see you, but they're gonna come in less frequently. So think about the value that you're giving to your clients. If your haircuts are lasting a long time, or your color is lasting that long, then that's a huge investment for them. And like, say you're a balayage expert and you're charging $200 an hour and you're doing 3 hours for a balayage, that's $600. Your client only pays $600 every 6 months. That's amazing for them. That's actually like saving time and energy, because clients don't want to have to go through the mental energy of calling other places or testing out other colorists, or it's just such a headache to try to find someone else. Your job is to continue to become the best at what you do. Learn all that there is to learn. Become an expert in your field. Feel confident in that people are looking for you. Your job is to make your client's life easy and to be the expert in their hair, to know their hair really well and to be there for them. And then just to raise your prices to reflect your expertise. So I hope this video helped in your business journey. If you guys have questions, you know where to put them in the comments below, and smash that thumbs up button because it does help with the YouTube algorithm. And then what else? Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Lena Does Hair, and I will see you soon. Bye.